Happy Friday! We are at the end of our week and we're going to end it with a great guest on another episode here of Full Out Chats. We will be bringing in Calen Cook, coach at the University of Louisville, GymTyme All-Stars, and the new co-owner and coach at Cheer Athletics in St. Louis. If you have ever met Calen, just a great dude, awesome guy, extremely talented musician. You just have to meet this guy. He is unbelievable. I'm very excited for everybody to hear his story because it's an interesting one. I think there's a couple of things that you're going to learn about Calen that you did not know. And so I'm very excited for you guys to meet Calen. But before we can go full out, obviously we need some music. And like every coach says, we're going to just do it one more time. And let's go full out.
Are you ready? Full out chat. Do you know what time it is? We got control, we got the right, we got the vision, you lose the sight. We will never stop. We got the drop, yeah. What time is it? Full out. We're live in 5, 6, 7, 8.
Okay, we are live. We are full out. Let's find Calen, and we will get him to join us. Let's see here. Where is he? Calen. Oop. Did we lose Calen? Oh, yeah, there he is. All right, here we go.
Is here.
Calen.
How's it going, brother?
Dude, I'm great, man. How's everything?
It's going well. Hanging in there.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for taking time out today to join me and to give us your story.
Yeah.
No, I know that it's I mean, we've met a few times, but it's always been a great time. And
Yeah.
there's a couple of things that I learned about you, like, holy cow, I didn't know that. And I just think that you've been I mean, as you and I know, once you're around for a while,
Yeah.
kind of people forget about kind of where you came from. And
It's a
things
really
like that.
big, small industry. It's huge, but everybody's pretty close to that. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and I mean, exactly. And regardless of, styles, UCA, NCAA, whatever, like, you're right. Like, we run into each other a handful of times a year, which I never complain about.
Sure. For sure.
But just like with all the guests, I always say, let's just start from the beginning.
Sure.
Where did you grow up? What sports did you play growing up? And then we'll get into how the whole cheerleading thing got you.
Let's do it. I originally grew up in a place called Shepherdsville, Kentucky, which is just probably 15 to 20 minutes south of Louisville. And so I grew up in Shepherdsville, Kentucky. I went to Bullitt Central High School.
Oh, okay.
Throughout growing up, I played all kinds of sports. I mean, I really probably had my hand in just about every sport growing up. Mainly, though, I stuck with football the most. And then there we go.
Yep.
All right. So my senior year, I decided that I wanted to try cheerleading. So the cool thing about Bullitt Central High School, the sports were good, but the two main things, if you went to high school where I went, the successful things, the most successful were the concert choir and the cheerleading team.
Okay.
And at the time, we had like the largest co-ed cheerleading team probably in the country. I mean, we had about 16, 17 guys from my high school. And most of the football players I think we had like 6 or 7 guys that were on the football team and the cheer team as well. So a lot of my friends had did it, and I was like, you know what? It's my senior year. Let's give it a shot, But the story about how I became the cheerleader is good. So my friend was on the cheerleading team, and I was at football practice, and we did ride share home. So he lived like close to me. So, and James Moore is the guy, and he's in that picture on the far right. Former varsity model, one of the old school ones. So we graduated.
And did he cheer at Moorhead, James?
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Which is coming up later in the story as well. So I was waiting for him to give him a ride home, and he was at cheer practice. I had finished football practice, kind of come in the gym. The coach, Terry Cox, you might know Terry Cox. I don't know if you know him or not, but he was my high school coach. So,
oh, gee, okay.
Yeah, he coached me at Bullitt Central. So James, that we're discussing right now, my friend, he is now the current coach at Bullitt Central.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically I'm waiting for him, and I'm like, all right, man, let's go. Let's wrap this up. Well, they had an injury. A guy had gotten injured. And so they're like, what are we going to do? Like, we don't know who's going to replace him. I'm like, I don't know, guys. That's tough. And everybody they just kind of kept staring at me. They're like, we really just don't know what we're going to do.
What are we going to do?
That's really terrible for you guys. I don't know. And they're like, well, what about you? And I was like, no. We're not gonna. And they kind of talked me into it. And then I really, literally, from that day on, I never left. They taught me their routine. We competed at Kings Island. I don't know if you remember that competition.
I do.
I did a competition there. I really did almost absolutely nothing. I caught a girl like twice, and then I just ran around from place to place. And then I was like, all right, I can do more than what I'm doing. So then I started learning a little bit. And that's kind of how the story of cheer began for me. I was around them when they were cheering and stuff, but I really didn't understand or have any clue about it. And honestly, it's one of those things where no matter how many sports I played growing up or how long I played them, this one just sucked me in. It was like I couldn't learn enough, and I never could be as good as I wanted to be. And I'm like, oh, I could stunt better than that. I can do this. I can throw a back tuck. Like, I'm just going to keep landing on my knees and my face until I figure it out. So that's kind of how the story about cheering began for me. That's where kind of it all started. And it's been a fun road since then.
It's amazing. Pretty much every guy, male that I've interviewed, same thing. It was just, wasn't really sure if I'm going to do this thing. And then literally once its claws got into you, it's still there. It was just addicting.
It really is. Like, it's hard for people to leave cheer. I'm sure people do it all the time, but it's very, very tough to completely just separate yourself from it. Especially when, I didn't really have a background in cheer, but now I have a large background in cheer. So it's very difficult. Like, I don't really have any plans on ever leaving cheer, but it's going to be very, very tough. It's insane.
We know a handful of people who have tried, and it always sucks them back in.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, you might leave for a little while, but not long.
We're here with Calen Cook, University of Louisville, GymTyme All-Stars, and the new co-owner and coach at Cheer Athletics in St. Louis. If you have any questions for Calen, we will be doing a Q&A here a little bit later. At the bottom of the screen, you're going to see a question mark that looks like a deck of cards. Just tap on that question mark, send us some questions, and Calen will be happy to answer them later. So you graduated from Bullitt Central.
Correct. And then, so a lot of my friends that I cheered with at Bullitt Central, Terry Cox, which I said was a coach, he had spent some time doing some assistant coaching under Myron Doan at Moorhead. So a lot of the kids that I cheered with went through to Moorhead. And so a lot of them went to Moorhead, but at the time I had only cheered for just a brief time. So that was a little bit out of my league. So I decided I would.
Moorhead was very established by then.
Oh, way back. So I decided I would go ahead and do something a little bit different and try something else. So I went to University of Nebraska first. That was a great experience. Loved University of Nebraska. There I am, up top, no hair. And that was awesome. I really, really loved it. And just the scene at the college and like how, my teammates were incredible. I loved the whole experience there. My coach at that time was Bodie Freeman.
Okay.
And so I spent the year at Nebraska, and honestly, my plan was to stay at Nebraska the whole time. Well, at the end of my very first year, we got a phone call. He kind of called us and said, hey, I need everybody to meet down here. So we all met down on campus, and they told us basically that, I guess at this time, this was the year 2000, 2001. So they had explained to us that I guess 6 or 7 years prior to that, a girl that was on the cheerleading team had gotten injured. She was tumbling in the gymnastics room, if I recall correctly, and she had gotten injured. So there was a lawsuit involved, and I believe the university at that point said, okay, no more stunting, tumbling, nothing. They pretty much cut it off. So I was kind of devastated, but I didn't really have a plan. And this was at the end of the year. So, we were already signing back up for classes for the next year and all that. So
your freshman year at Nebraska is when that ruling did come down when they were going to ground ball Nebraska.
I got to compete. Yeah.
Okay.
UCA. I was at UCA that year. So, and from that point, I was a little bit lost. I didn't know exactly what to do. I had to make moves pretty fast. So that's when I went to Morehead State.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Morehead State because it was very fast and easy to get into, and I didn't really have much of a choice. The U of L's and the UKs and such. If I were wanting to get into school, it was too fast of a turnaround.
Yeah.
Morehead State is a little bit more lax on the amount of time it takes to get in.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Morehead, cheered under Myron Doan. Incredible man, incredible,
Mm-hmm.
awesome coach, and just a great person. Like, he was awesome.
So before we get to Morehead, you did have the 1 year at Nebraska, but Nebraska is obviously known for their football. Could you talk about kind of the game day experience you did have at Nebraska for that 1 year?
Absolutely, I'd love to. Well, the most incredible experience. I mean, every experience was incredible. It was all different, all incredible. But just the day that you made the team, the way they did the tryouts, and I don't know how they do it now, but I'm speaking for back then. When we made the team, they basically, you see your name on a list and they shuttle you through this little way, and then you get to this Adidas warehouse and you start picking out your clothes and such, all your sizes. And then when you get to the end, they're like, okay, the last 3 things are what you're going to go put on. We're going to cheer the spring game. And you walked out underneath. I mean, that was the day you walked out and you went under the tunnel. And I remember just walking out there and like, boom, and their spring game, it's full stadium.
I was going to say, people don't, like, Nebraska sells out their spring game. Yeah, it's full.
It was like 70-something, 80,000 people at the time. And I mean, I just remember walking out, and when my head went up, I mean, it like takes your breath away. I mean, you're in big stadiums all the time, just how loud it is and just the scene, and like just looking around, the atmosphere was incredible. I mean, literally, I was mesmerized for a while.
I've been to Nebraska, and it is breathtaking. I tell anybody who's a college football fan, go to a Nebraska game. And not only is the stadium is beautiful, everybody is so nice there.
They're very nice.
Oh my God.
The nicest people ever, and the most loyal fan base. Even when they are bad, they do not care. They are there for the team. They don't walk out of a game early, winning and losing. It does not matter. They really are incredible people. Like, I cannot say enough good things about Nebraska.
But unfortunately,
20 years later, and I still talk about
it. And I don't blame. It is a great game day experience. It's unbelievable. But I understand. I probably would have done the same. I mean, I cheered at Wisconsin, Big Ten. But if after my first or second year, they would have told me, "Hey, no more stunting." Yeah. I may have stayed at Wisconsin. I don't know. I really don't know what I would have done. But man, I couldn't even imagine taking that type of news.
We were on, even back then, there was a scholarship. And so it kind of got wiped away too. So that yeah. So it was like the decision was hard, but it wasn't anything that I could sustain. Being from Kentucky and all that stuff. So that's kind of what led me into Morehead.
So as you talked about, you go to Morehead, and obviously you're learning from Myron Doan, a legend. It's amazing through my talks, not just people who cheered at Morehead, just like how many times his name has come up. But kind of talk about that. How long were you at Morehead, and talk about the transition going from Nebraska into Morehead. But more, I mean, the thing is, like, I mean, you're now in a dog eat dog type of environment. I mean, these guys are there to win nationals.
Absolutely. And this to me was a good, I needed that, it was the culture shock. Nebraska was competitive, and even my high school was competitive, but this was definitely that level. It makes you step your game up. It really does. And the people at Morehead, I still keep in contact with a lot of my teammates from everywhere, really. But Morehead was just a completely different ballgame. I mean, it was like, that you are there for that. I mean, that is your job, and it was fun. But that was like going to work, and you had a job to do, and everybody kind of held you to that standard. And if you didn't really want to do it, then it was kind of known that call came in. It was kind of known that you couldn't, if you couldn't hang, you kind of made your way out. But everybody was very tight knit, and everybody wanted to be good. Everybody had the same kind of drive, so it wasn't a problem when I was there. But I really, really enjoyed my time there. I only spent 1 year in Morehead.
Okay.
So the time that I was in Morehead, I loved the UCA style, but I was very, very intrigued by the NCAA style.
Okay.
I really, really kind of enjoyed that as well. And I'm not much of a tumbler. I did not enjoy having to flip or anything like that. And at the time, at NCA, it was you either stunt or you tumble. You didn't do both. The whole all-around athlete thing didn't come until after my time, thank goodness, or I probably never would have amounted to anything. But so I spent the 1 year in Moorhead, and I loved my time there. But the whole time I was very open with them about probably not being there more than a year. And it was they were so supportive of it. I mean, Myron, James, my other teammates, Ryan McGovern, Justin Gribbins, all Shannon, they all drove me to Louisville for tryouts, and they were like, all right, you're going to do it, man. And, you know, that's the support system that they have there, and the kind of family atmosphere. They want everybody to do well, you know? And so I really, really did love my time in Moorhead, but I knew that Louisville was where I wanted to go. And that's where I'm from. So it was easier to get back there. And
I was about to say, so, I mean, you grew up near Louisville. And so did you grow up a Louisville fan as a kid, or?
I grew up a Kentucky fan.
I was, oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
UK fan. Yeah. I still enjoy UK. I still go to games sometimes with my brother and my dad, and I watched games all the time on television. So I didn't ever lose being a Kentucky fan, but I gained being a Louisville fan big time. You know, when I got to Louisville, it was hard not to adopt everything, you know. But I really enjoyed my time at Moorhead, like I said. But once I got to Louisville, that was when everything changed for me, I think.
So we're here with Calen Cook. Again, if you have any questions for Calen, he'll be doing a Q&A a little bit later here. Just tap on that question mark at the bottom of the screen and send us some questions, and he'll be happy to answer them. So you spend a year at Moorhead. Obviously, you're going to get better being at Moorhead in terms of skills. Did you compete at Moorhead that year?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, I did not compete at Moorhead that year. We won nationals that year. But as for stunting, I got leaps and bounds better, as I didn't really know much other than, you know, full ups and such that I did at Nebraska. Once I got there, you know, it was like they were doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and I'm like, oh, I want to learn how to do that, and that. And that's kind of where I started doing like rewinds and such to prepare for U of L. And
because I tell people this story all the time. Like when I cheered, which is your era, like rewinds were illegal for UCA. You couldn't do them at UCA. And at the time, nobody was flipping. Everything was spinning. The big thing that when I kind of toward the end of our era was double ups. So people were double ups, but really at the time for UCA, if you could do full ups, you could be competitive. I mean, that was really kind of what people were doing. And so, but you're transitioning to NCA, and at the time, NCA and UCA are not under the varsity model, so they're separate. That was a great competition between UCA and NCA back in the day. That was great. But so, like I said, your buddies drive you up to Louisville, and you have your first tryout at Louisville. And talk about that, your first ever tryout up there.
I was nervous because it was different for me. Obviously, like I said, the style was different, kind of everything. But I had been around those guys at Louisville. We traveled back. We hung out with each other, the Moorhead guys, the Louisville guys, just from me being from here and us kind of knowing them all. And but I was a little nervous at the tryout, but I did think that, you know, that was where I wanted to be. So and I had spoken with James about, and that year there was like a huge influx of guys coming in from all over the place. And they were coming off of, I think they had lost 3 years in a row, Louisville, that when I came in. And it was like there was a whole just group of guys that all came from different places. And we really I know that he was like, all right, you know, I want these guys on my team. And so I knew that was a place that I wanted to be at, and that with everyone around that we were going to really flourish. So
you make the team at Louisville.
I did.
And talk about now the big transition, not only from a cheerleading standpoint, but a school standpoint. So now what is your major at Louisville? And kind of at the time, because I don't know, at that time, were you like, I'm going to make a living out of the cheerleading thing? Or at the time, were you still like, oh, this is just getting me through school and I'll do something else?
Had absolutely no idea. Still at this moment, I'm just cheering from an athlete standpoint. I had no clue that I could actually be a coach or even have that desire to be a coach, you know, at the moment. But when I got to Louisville, so my major was justice administration.
Okay.
JA at U of L. But again, still no desire or thought about coaching. You know, I was just all enthralled in that. But so once I got to Louisville, like you said, the style was completely different, but it was just a different vibe. I can from Moorhead, but I really enjoyed like myself at Louisville. Like it was just like I don't know the cheerleading I'm trying to think how to describe it. Like the college is different. Everything was different. You know, Moorhead's very small. Louisville's a lot bigger. It's just everything about it I felt like the fit that I needed. You know.
So did you make Matt your first year at Louisville?
Yes.
Okay. So talk about that experience going down
Right.
to Daytona and doing NCAA nationals.
So made Matt my first year at U of L, and it was competing in Daytona, especially with Louisville, is an incredible experience. Like that band shell, they were like, "Hey, man, like I'm just letting you know, like it's going to be a little bit, you know, of an aggressive experience. It's kind of intimidating." So, and it really is. And when you step out there, I mean, it's first off, it's blazing hot. It's windy a lot of times, so you're dealing with, you know, all kinds of environmental factors. And not only that, but you're just nervous. I mean, it's just like being a competitor at anything else. You're nervous. You have those butterflies, but they're intensified by like 1,000 in Daytona, I must say. And it never gets any easier, even though the years pass on. They never went away. You know, every time I was waiting backstage, that is like a miserable wait. You know, but it was always great. You know, luckily I won all the years that I was at U of L.
And how many years was that?
4.
4 years. Okay, so you did the full 4 at Louisville. And at the time, was Louisville just large co-ed and large all-girl?
Until my last year, they had a small co-ed.
Okay. So you did large co-ed every year then?
Yep, I did large co-ed every year. And then, so that's kind of during my time at U of L is where GymTyme came into play, because obviously U of L trains at GymTyme. James Speed, Misty Hodges, they both are the other coaches at U of L, and they own GymTyme All-Stars. And so when I very first made U of L, that's when I started kind of coaching. I did like some elementary school and some like rec league teams and such like that. And then just being around them and like watching them kind of coach the teams, it was like I couldn't learn enough. You know, I would just be there watching them coach teams that I had absolutely nothing to do with, just to learn and see how they operated. And it was honestly, that is the only reason why I'm still coaching today and why I got to do all the things I did. You know, they gave me opportunity after opportunity, and they really trusted and believed, I guess, that in what I was doing. And at the time when I was at U of L, Leroy was at U of L still for a little while, and he was helping coach as well. So when he left, I kind of stepped into that role, and like obviously no one's ever going to fill Leroy's shoes, but I had to kind of make a way and try to figure it out. And so luckily they gave me an opportunity to kind of step in and start coaching. So that's when my GymTyme team started to I would coach higher level teams. And then right as soon as I finished at U of L, well, actually in my last year, I think I helped one of the group stunts choreograph their like stunt routine for nationals, and they won. So then after that, I know Misty was pregnant with her first child, and she wasn't going to be around for a little while. And so I got to kind of, I think I took them to camp by myself once, and I was like, oh, it was like in the first year. And so then after she got back, I think, you know, she kind of believed in what I was doing and had me around. And that's when small co-ed was in their second year.
Okay.
So I did all girl and small co-ed. So I really haven't done a ton of stuff with co-ed since I got off the team, but I do mostly the stuff with all girl and small co-ed.
So we're here with Calen Cook, University of Louisville. We're talking about his transition from athlete to coach. And again, if you have any questions for Calen, feel free to send them via the question mark at the bottom. Just tap on that and send us some questions. We'll answer them later. And real quick, another thank you to cheeranddancemusic.com for helping us out with our intro music. So Calen, so kind of, it sounds like without even knowing it, you just become a coach.
It kind of happened that way, really.
Yeah.
So I just, I was working at GymTyme just to get some hours in and have some extra money and stuff on the side. And then, like I said, it was just what the people that I was around and like just to see how like electric it was and like the way they were with the teams and how just their coaching style and all the things they did. And it made me want to do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and again, it's one of those things like we talked about with cheer earlier. It's like once you're in, you're just in
Yeah.
and you're hooked. And then I just couldn't get enough of it. So it went from having a couple little rec league teams and a tumbling class here and there to being like, okay, I'm going to study all of the tumbling classes and watch how these people teach them. And then I'm going to, you know, and I just, from that point, it just started kind of snowballing and just rolled and rolled. And I'm just like, now I have multiple teams and all these tumbling classes and coaching, you know, and it just, from that point on, it just kind of ballooned. And each year I had a little bit more responsibility than I had the year before.
It's just amazing how everybody in the end ends up making this our lives, but none of us ever planned on it. I mean,
No,
like,
no.
I mean, when you're at Louisville, before all of a sudden getting into obviously coaching and everything like that, what was the plan? What did you have any idea maybe what you wanted to do with your degree and what you wanted to do for, you know, a living?
That I really didn't have a plan. Honestly, when I got to Louisville, there was no really immediate plan. And that's why before that plan ever formed, this other plan that I really didn't actually think was going to happen just kind of took over. And the whole coaching thing. And next thing I know, you know, when I was done with school, I was full force, full-time coaching both at GymTyme and U of L.
And so you're now really into the All-Star world.
Yep.
And at the time, that's when All-Stars were starting to blow up a little bit. That's when it's starting to get bigger. And I think World started up around that time. And
Worlds, I believe, was in my second and third year at U of L.
yeah.
Or sorry, second to last and last.
05, 06-ish years,
It would
I
have
think.
been 04, 05,
Yeah.
05, 06, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And so you're in this All-Star world, and kind of talk about how the transition of All-Star, and for you as a coach, how did you kind of transition as a coach and adjust as a coach, as obviously All-Star has become way more athletic, has become a lot more flashier, has just become just a lot more of a show than it used to be.
Well, basically, so being at U of L, that kind of propelled me into learning All-Star, because at the time, the way the collegiate routines and stuff were, it kind of was, it was still like All-Star, but it was college. But everything was like really flashy, and U of L is still kind of that way, but even back then it was way more similar to All-Star. So being on the team at U of L and being around all those teams, it was, for some reason, I found it to be an easy transition. I just picked up on it very well. And when I got my first gig coaching an All-Star team at GymTyme, that's just, I took it and ran with it. You know, I saw the way that the other people were coaching and how they did things, and I just made sure that I studied a lot, I learned a lot, and that I was around as much as possible, just to be able to see the way that people do things and to kind of adapt my own style from it.
Mm-hmm. And same thing at Louisville. You know, I know definitely for me, I've had to change as a coach and adjust my coaching styles. Clearly, Louisville has had a lot of success in what you guys do. Obviously, the culture you've created there is a culture that works. But kind of talk about, as a college coach, how have you also evolved in regards to, I mean, because same thing, just the kids are so much more athletic. They're coming in with so much more skill. You know, a lot of these kids have competed since they were like 3 or 4 years old now, you know, and so kind of talk about how you've had to also evolve into that as a college coach.
Yeah. So basically when I very first started coaching, I was just fresh off the team. So that's difficult in and of itself, is trying to make sure that you're, you know, keeping yourself at the correct level above where you're supposed to be. But really, like, from then, the actual style of cheer was very similar to what it was when I was still on the team. But since then, like, the way that the cheer has changed and the skills have evolved and such, you know, if you take time off, you get so far behind the game that it's very difficult to come back in and be at the level that you were. That's why it's like tough to leave. And people know that it's hard to leave, because once you're out, it's very difficult to be as good, I guess, or as knowledgeable as you were the day that you left, because things change every single day. So, yeah, my coaching styles had to adapt year after year after year. And it basically kind of depends on what kind of team we have and what the members are like and the skill level. But honestly, like, each year, it shocks me. It gets more and more impressive, because, you know, you think years and years ago that, oh, it's never going to get any better than this. It's the best team I've ever had. And then all of a sudden, you know, the next year you're being like, wow, you're just blown away by the talent. And not even just at U of L. I mean, that's across the board. It's just, it seems to completely shock me every year about how talented these kids are.
Again, we're here with Calen Cook. We're talking about the University of Louisville and his coaching there and his transition there. I mean, obviously you're having an extremely successful time at Louisville, but then also GymTyme is doing very well and winning worlds and things like that. And kind of you're just all of a sudden in this Louisville bubble of just success. I mean, kind of talk about those years of where just, I mean, while obviously very awesome, maybe a little bit overwhelming of just how much success you guys are having.
Oh yeah, for sure. So there was, I mean, we have, trying to think of what the first Worlds team I coached was. I was on the international team a couple years even after I cheered and kind of coached it too with James or Missy or depending on which team it was. But there were a few years like when I first started winning as a coach was when we had the international black. It was GymTyme Senior Black. And then we had pink. And there were a few years where we would go to Worlds and we would have like 3 teams win at Worlds. And it was just very, like you said, it's overwhelming because you set this bar for yourself that's very high. And you always wonder how on earth you're ever going to top that. And then the world championships started kind of rolling in, and that really created a buzz where people really wanted to be at Louisville and they wanted to come and be around, even if they were just on GymTyme. Even if they didn't make the team at U of L, they just wanted to stay and become a part of it. And Misty and James have created an environment there that people want to be in, and they become that, they want to thrive. And Louisville's a place where it's kind of a really competitive atmosphere. So if you don't keep up, it's kind of like you cast yourself off the island if you're not willing to do the work it takes to stay. But like I said, that kind of competitive environment, it drives people to want to be around and want to stay.
When I was coaching at Sun Prairie High School, Jessie Prochnow, I sent down to you guys, and she was an absolute stud. She loved Louisville. I told her, I'm mind blown how, I don't know how your kids are able to do so much. My kids are just broken and battered by like January. So I couldn't even imagine. They're also doing All-Stars. They're also, they're competing in April. I'll be honest, I have no idea how you do it. So please talk about, whenever I'm talking to people, I always say like, usually there's not enough time to do All-Stars, or, there's just, whatever. You guys obviously have made it work. You're one of the few schools that I feel, if a kid wants to do All-Stars and cheer in college, go to Louisville. Like, you're one of the few that can offer that. Kind of talk about how you guys have been able to make that work.
So those kids are superheroes. They really are. I mean, they do a lot more outside of the scene that people don't really get to see. And they go to school full time. They are cheering volleyball games, basketball games, football games. They're making appearances. They're doing philanthropy events all around. They really are incredible athletes, but they're incredible people too. And like I said, the style and the environment that Missy and James have created there, those kids know when they come that's what it entails. And so if you want to be good, you have to buckle down, and it's going to be hard. You're going to be up late. You're going to have to get up early and go to these classes. You're going to be tired. There's going to be, you have homework and assignments due for school, but then you have games and stuff to cheer. And obviously school takes precedence over the athletics portion of it. But, it's something that when you get there. And it's well stated, and you see it. The kids see it when they come, and they've probably followed along, before they get there. They've probably seen and heard stories from the other kids, but it really is a lifestyle, and it's kind of like something that they adopt when they make the team and when they sign to be there. That's just kind of something that you agree upon.
I was very honored and blessed when we were at Louisville for the NCAA tournament last year. First of all, thank you again for letting us practice there. I appreciated it. And I had the honor of being able to watch you get your all-girl team ready. And first of all, let me just say, so polite. So many just came up to me and just, asked me questions. They're just super nice ladies. They were great. But you already talked about it.
I talked to my Nicole, my assistant. She cheered at HPU back in the day when HPU was the powerhouse. They were so.
Yeah.
I mean, and she knew a lot of the old school Louisville people, and she was like, "How were they?" First of all, I was like, "They're gonna win. They're just unbelievable. They were so good that year." And we'll talk about that. How you NCAA last year threw you guys a curveball. We'll talk about that. But I told Nicole, athletes. Holy cow, you guys have some athletes. I mean, we have some good athletes at Purdue, but I was blown away by your athletes. Talk about Louisville tryouts. Normal, we'll talk about that here in a bit about what Louisville's planning on doing for next year. But kind of talk like, how do you handle having so much talent wanting to come to you?
It's tough because every year at tryouts, I mean, the numbers are through the roof. I mean, you're talking about 200 people coming in and trying out. And so it's hard to narrow it down. Louisville is also known for having like a large program because they do a lot. There's a lot going on. So it's like you have to keep that many people in order to be able to facilitate all the things that we need them to do. But the skill level is insane. And, just the athleticism and like I said, each year they know that if they don't stay on top of their game, that it's going to be very tough for them to be a part of what's going on. Mm-hmm. But just like the tryout process is very relaxed at UL. That's one of the things that kind of drew me to it. It's a relaxed tryout, but also that if you don't do well, that it's not going to bid well for you because there's so many people there. Mm-hmm. But the tryout process is really cool and laid back. I mean, on the final day, the girls all dress up in like fun little outfits and stuff. And generally the guys wear like just khaki shorts and like a polo, but the girls kind of make it more fun. And sometimes the seniors will do themes, the guys and the girls. It's just a nice, fun, relaxed atmosphere. And it's not so, it's not super so structured because there's been 3 or 4 days of tryouts occurring before that. So it's kind of not already done because people have, they've kind of made or not made on the final day. But generally it's kind of, you get an idea of what's going on before that so that the final day is a little bit more relaxed. It's just really fun atmosphere. And they come out and they do their tumbling and their stunting and then they do the fight song and such. And it's just a lot, and it's open tryouts, so people get to come and watch. But it's just a really fun atmosphere.
Before we get into the Q&A section here, for people that don't know, Louisville All-Girl gets down to Daytona last year, ready to roll. And my goodness, you have to pull a whole stunt out. And I think you guys had a pretty significant injury that happened and still able to pull it off. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Kind of talk about that, like what happened, that experience for you guys.
So last year, so it was quite ironic. So last year I was, I was coaching the world's team, coaching U of L, and I said, you know what, I'm going to go down to Daytona a day early because they were leaving on that Tuesday night. So I said, I'm going to get up and fly out, go there on Tuesday, so they wouldn't be there till Wednesday. I'm going to have a nice day of relaxation, just hang out, and then when they get there on Wednesday, it's business. So no sooner than I got to the airport and got my luggage and wheeled out to the taxi and got to the hotel, I get a phone call. Misty says, we have one of the athletes just didn't show up. Just didn't come. And so we basically, she's freaking out. I'm freaking out. And so I'm like, so we had the choice to kind of either take someone from small co-ed or to put an alternate in. And really, it was just too hectic. We didn't want to ruin what small co-ed had going on. And then we also just felt like that the routine was too difficult to just throw someone into without ruining the routine or putting so much pressure on someone for no reason. So we decided to, we got a middle school or high school gym. And we went to that for a little bit, and then there was another all-star facility that let us use their gym. So we loaded up on the bus and we went and just kind of did a little rearranging work and made the routine for 19 people. And did great in prelims. Everything was good. We're winning. Everything's fine. And then in finals on the band shell, in the last about 15 seconds of the routine, there's a big group of fools that come to the front, and the full dead center snaps her ankle. So they stopped the music.
Yeah.
So we had to perform the whole routine again, but we only got about 20 or 30 minutes to figure it out. So we had to rush everybody back over and then pull, obviously, the girl that got injured. And then we took an alternate and put her in that spot did some fluff work on the stunt and the pyramid and such, and they won. They hit it and they won. It was quite incredible. We came with 20, or thought we were coming with 20, went to 19, went to 18, and still won. So it was really like probably one of the best stories that I have to tell about the experience at College Nationals, which today would be finals College Nationals. I would be in Daytona right now.
First of all, I didn't even know about the girl that just didn't even show up. I only knew about the injury. Holy cow. Oh my goodness. Wow. I mean, I'm like, I don't even know. Again, I don't know what I would do. Oh my goodness.
That's one of the things that I've learned from being my time at U of L and GymTyme is how to think fast on my feet and how to expect anything that can go wrong is going to.
It's going to.
Yeah. So I've just learned how to think quick, and from Misty and James, like I said, that's the kind of environment they created, and we know how to think fast on our feet. And but this is how my career at GymTyme and U of L has ended. So this was my last year at U of L, and I honestly, the virus and such, it's baffling to me. I never thought that, even though when I did decide to move on, that this would be the way that the seasons ended with all my kids throughout the years at GymTyme and with all the teams that I've coached at U of L, that it ended in a very, very strange manner. But, I'm excited for the future. I'm, opening that gym, Cheer Athletics St. Louis, with Will Estevez and Demort Garrett. So we're really excited about what we have in the future. Right now, although everything's up in the air and uncertain in the world, we are very, very, very happy and proud and excited to be moving to St. Louis and to do something a little bit of our own, and to just kind of take all the things and the knowledge that we've been taught throughout the years from all the different coaches that I've had and all the different coworkers, and just kind of take it and hope to build a legacy of something of our own.
When I saw that news, I mean, I remember I texted you right away. Congratulations. Holy cow. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, what you can talk about kind of how did this come about? How did this, I guess, was presented to you? And kind of talk about, obviously, like you said, with the virus and everything, don't know when you can have tryouts or anything like that, but kind of what are the plans in St. Louis for you?
Well, so it kind of started, one of the other owners, Demork, had moved from Chicago to St. Louis with his family. And then Will Estevez, his girlfriend is originally from St. Louis, in the same area. So we had kind of been in talks a little bit about wanting to do something. The St. Louis part just kind of fell into our lap because Will was going to be moving there after his girlfriend's graduation. Demork had already moved there with his family. And we originally were going to buy a different gym in St. Louis. Cheer Athletics was in the market of St. Louis already anyway, not with us. It was two separate things. And we were going to be trying to buy another gym. And then once everyone kind of discovered, like, oh, you're going to be opening here, and they're like, oh, well, you're going to be opening here, it just kind of meshed. It just kind of came together. It wasn't like, we didn't seek them out. They didn't seek us out. It just kind of really happened. It kind of fell in our lap. And honestly, the brand and the family atmosphere at CA and just the short amount of time that we've been there has been absolutely incredible. And like I said, we are super excited. And the virus thing has us set back a little bit. The gym is still under construction, so they're doing the build out right now. So that part is still at least going. But as for like tryouts and such, we're really kind of waiting it out with everyone else and just riding the storm out. If you can see that logo up there. So our theme is the House of Blues, and it's going to be different colors of blue and music theme, because I love music. And
I will say that's a great segue, Calen, right there is, well, I know you're going to be very successful in that area. St. Louis is a beautiful town, beautiful area. And I also remember telling you, like, there's a decent music scene there also. I've been there a few times and seen some live music, and everybody who knows you knows that you are, in my opinion, a very, very talented musician also. So kind of talk about that. Like, how did you get into music, and what are your plans with your music?
So I basically just have always loved to sing. And I kind of picked up the guitar and taught myself so I'd have something to sing along with. My friend Clay Harned, I play music with him still to this day. We've been playing together forever and ever. We sat next to each other in concert choir, and we would always make parodies of the Christmas songs and such, and that's just kind of how it all started. And then we started playing acoustic stuff together, and I've been playing music with him for probably 10 years. And so my music career with him, once I move, is going to be not over, but I mean, when I come back in town, we'll still do shows and stuff. But when I move to St. Louis, I'm going to start back from scratch and either start playing some solo stuff or look for other like-minded people and figure out. I still haven't really got to explore the town and the music scene yet, but I know that's going to be one of the. I'll be busy, I'm sure, with all the gym stuff. But if any opening time that I find, I'm gonna try to check it out and see if I can meet some like-minded musicians and stuff in St. Louis, or possibly just go out and start playing some solo stuff until I figure it all out.
Mm-hmm. Will you be singing for us today?
Would you like me to?
It's up to you. If you have a guitar and or anything ready, I would love to hear.
I'll play a little bit.
All right, sounds great.
Give me a moment.
The stuff you posted on Facebook and everything has been awesome. I like I said, and anybody who knows Calen knows that he just loves to play music. So yeah, if you don't mind serenading us for a couple minutes, love to hear it.
I'll play a little bit. We'll see what I can figure. I'm alright. I'm standing in the street light. Is this meant for me? 'Cause my time on the outside is over. We don't know how you're spending all of your days when you know that love is free. You see the pictures, you don't know their name, no. Love isn't here, and I can't do this by myself. All of these problems are all in your head, and I can't be somebody else. You took something perfect, you painted it. There you go.
Dude, so good. Everybody follow Calen Cook Music. He's on Facebook. He's on Instagram. He posts live stuff all the time, acoustic stuff. Man, I am completely tone deaf, so I'm jealous of everybody who's got a great voice, as I'm so tone deaf. But thank you, man. I appreciate that. Are you ready for some Q&A? Ask a couple questions?
Absolutely.
All right, man. Let's do it. Let's see here. Here we go. From Jalen, how would you describe your coaching style?
Oh, good question, Jalen. Well, she should know because she's been coached by me.
I was about to say, is that one of your kids?
She's a former U of L Dreamtime person. I would describe my coaching style. I would say I'm pretty, I'm aggressive sometimes, but a lot of times I'm very sarcastic. I will make you do what I'm asking you to do by I'm not going to belittle you and be in your face, but I will make you think very hard about what you've done, and in a funny way. I'd like to say that it's sometimes funny, but but aggressive as well. Like, I like to get the job done, and I know what I want to do. So my goal when I'm coaching is to try to figure out the best way to get the kids to do it.
When I was at the all-girl practice with you there, I was when you were talking about how the Louisville Tryout is kind of laid back but intense. That's how the vibe I got. It was kind of laid back. You kind of let the team run things at that time because it was March, but the job was getting done. I mean, it was clearly still an intense practice.
That's part of the thing is, I feel like if I have to go in there and tell them every single day what to do, then they haven't really learned anything from me. So in the beginning of when we're doing or whatever we're doing, I like for them to kind of that's in the beginning is when I'll kind of take the control. But after a certain time, I need to see that they mesh well together and that they're understanding and that they have some leadership amongst the team, that they understand what I want them to do and that they're going to be able to pull it off. Because again, a lot of times you never know what's going to happen. So whether someone's standing in front of you or they're not, or they're directing you or they're not, you need that internal leadership. And that's what I try to instill in them is to be able to, not always rely on somebody else to do it for you. The best way to get the job done is to do it yourself and to make your teammates kind of believe in you and to be able to do it with you.
Absolutely. Oh, just a shout out for you. This is from Nurse McGee. I just want to thank Calen for coaching Maggie and preparing her to come to me at Purdue. I do want to thank you for that, buddy. She's a rock star. Holy
she's
cow.
an awesome kid.
Yeah.
Great
I remember
kid.
you telling me, like, I have a genius kid that wants to go to you.
Yeah. And, she's an awesome kid, and Shannon is awesome. And like I said, I had her for so long, and all the different teams that I've had, and I've been around Shannon for a long time, and they are great people, and I'm so happy that you're getting them, and you're going to really enjoy her. She's a great kid. No, she's a rock star. We're excited for her. Nicole ran into her at, it was either Jam Fest or Cheer Sport. One of these. Yeah. And she was like, I ran into her. She's rocking a Purdue t-shirt doing homework. I'm like, she's going to fit in fine. She's going to fit in. She'll be fine. You'll be just fine.
Kind of a good one here. What's your favorite level to coach in All-Stars?
Oh, level? Honestly, I kind of got a level 2 team. I acquired a level 2 team, not mid-season, but around October this year. And it was a youth level 2. And I really, really enjoyed the youth age, and I really enjoyed the level 2. Those kids kind of, and like my coaching style, when I'm so used to with the college kids and the level 7 and the 6s and stuff like that, I didn't really change much about the way that I did things. They adapted to it very well, and I had a great time with those kids this year. They were called the Shady Ladies, GymTyme Shade. That was one of my favorite teams that I've had. Just the level and the age kind of just meshed well with me, and I really enjoyed my time with them. So I would have to say that my favorite, I don't really have a favorite level to coach, but this year I loved my level 2 and then my level 6 Rouge team that I had, which was the first Worlds team that we had, the small senior that in a while. We had a break from the senior age Worlds team for a while. And these are all the kids on that Rouge team that kind of came up that I had from the youth team that won the Summit Youth Level 3 years ago. And now they all kind of got together. And that's why it's kind of a sad ending for me. We didn't really, well, I'm not for sure that it's over, but we didn't get to really kind of fulfill our goals for the year. But, I really enjoyed those levels for sure. Good question too, by the way.
It was. Jalen blew up all of our questions here, which is fine, because this is actually a good one that I'm curious also.
I saw her. I asked a lot of questions.
Are you going to try to stay involved in college while you're in St. Louis?
That is undetermined right now because everything's kind of up in the air right now, but I would love to, yes. There are some colleges nearby. I know that Jarrell Staton, he is with Lindenwood, and that is very, very and he used to coach at U of L with us too. He is part of that program. So I would love to stay involved if he's watching or watches, or anybody else in Missouri, University of Missouri, whoever. I'd love to be involved with college cheer. But again, that's kind of nothing that we've discussed yet. We're so kind of entangled in getting the gym going and with all the stuff that's going on right now that it's not that it's an afterthought. I would definitely love to, but we haven't really discussed it yet.
Anybody in Missouri, get this guy. Seriously, I just get him. That's all I can say. This is from Ace. Who's better at Halo?
He knows. That's the question he shouldn't even ask. It's me. Yeah.
Are you a video game guy?
Yeah. They always get on me because I don't really switch up my games a lot. I've been playing Halo for like 10 years, but
dude, that was our jam back in college.
Oh yeah. I mean, I say 10 years. It's probably even longer than that, but I'm at least on the newest one now. But no, I do. When we have some free time, a lot of the guys that I'm friends with and stuff, we get on there. It's just another way to communicate. It's fun, and we'll get on the headsets and talk trash and just have fun. And it's just a way to keep up with people that you don't get to see in everyday life, and to remain good friends with people that you think are just great people.
Mm-hmm. And one more here is, I know it depends on who tries out, but if you had a chance, would you make a senior non-tumbling team a world's team?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm all for the non-tumbling. I think it's, a good way to be inclusive of people who either don't have the ability or just don't want to tumble or whatever the case may be.
Or guys like us who are just terrible at tumbling and didn't want to.
Yeah, shoot, that would have been my team back in the day. I'd be like, let's do this, guy. No, but I'm all for it. So if we have the turnout at tryouts, which by the way, I mean, if you guys are in the St. Louis area, if you know anybody, tell your friends. But yeah, if the turnout is there at tryouts and we have the ability to make the team, I 100% will. And we're going to be all inclusive. Everybody's going to find a home, and we're going to make sure that we do our best to make everyone the most talented cheerleader that they can be.
Calen Cook, I was looking forward to this. Seriously, I was looking forward to this interview because, number one, like I said, I was just kind of like, it came out of nowhere about the whole Cheer Athletics St. Louis thing. And so I just wanted to obviously hear that story. But I just wanted to thank you, my friend, for sharing your story. You're welcome. Sharing your music. Again, Calen Cook Music, everybody. Follow him on Facebook, Instagram. He's great. I mean, any last words you have to tell people or to anything in terms of before I let you go here?
I just want to say thank you to you for having me on. I hope everybody enjoyed a little bit of the storytelling time that we got to share. And again, like we talked about earlier with cheer not being on the radar as making a career out of it, sometimes it happens. So if you have a passion for something, whatever it may be, it doesn't have to be cheer. If you find yourself having a passion for something, don't ever count it out as being something you're going to do for the rest of your life.
Calen Cook, everybody, new co-owner and coach at Cheer Athletics in St. Louis. Thank you, my friend. We'll keep in touch. Stay safe. Stay healthy, bud.
Thank you. See you guys.
Welcome. Calen Cook, no joke, just a great dude. One of the best people I've ever met. Excellent coach. And when I had the honor of going to that Louisville all-girl practice, I mean, they welcomed me with open arms. I was only going to go for like an hour and a half, and I stayed for the whole 3 hours. I mean, it was too much fun to watch. They were just a great group of girls, and he's just a great coach. So again, anybody in Missouri, if you're looking for a college coach, definitely reach out to Calen. He's great. But we do have full out chats next week. We are going down to three interviews, but also we have a special announcement. But who do we have coming up next week? All right. Monday, everybody, Monday. I am unbelievably excited to talk to the GOAT, in my opinion, the OG of partner stunning. I have Pat Wedge joining me on Monday. Any old school people know who I am talking about. His name has been brought up multiple times in the interviews I've had with people about how big of an influence he was on them in partner stunning. Pat Wedge, University of South Carolina, multiple partner stunt national championships. UCA college staffer, legend, a legend. I can't explain. If you do not know who I'm talking about, go on YouTube, search Pat Wedge. You're going to see the stuff this guy did in the early 90s that will blew people's mind. I mean, Tony Nash talked about him yesterday. He saw Pat Wedge do a full-up QP, and it blew his mind. And Pat Wedge, everybody, joining me on Monday. On Wednesday, keeping the All-Star theme going here, Darlene Fanning, founder, owner of Ice All-Stars and coach of the world champion Lady Lightning team. Darlene Fanning, yes, will be joining me on Wednesday here on Full Out Chat. Going to hear her story of the evolution of ice and how she founded it and how she got into all-star cheerleading. And then on Thursday next week, we're taking a different route. We're going to go into the mascot world. Yes, we're interviewing Ray Sharp, the head mascot coach at Ohio State University, a former Brutus Buckeye, has won multiple national championships as a athlete and coach at Ohio State University. And we're going to go into the mascot world, everybody. It's a different world. I'm in charge of mascots here at Purdue. Very interested to hear how he got into the mascot thing, because that's a whole different area that I'm excited to get into. But I also have huge news of what we're doing next Tuesday. Next Tuesday, we're going to kind of branch off and do a different thing. We're going to have a coach's corner type of, basically we're going to talk about college cheerleading and what's going on right now in regards to the COVID virus. So myself, Tony Nash, Ben Schreiber, and Mark Coleman, we are going to get together next Tuesday and have a coach's corner, open forum chit chat about how the state of college cheerleading and everything going on. More info on that. That'll be streamed live on our YouTube, Full Out Chats on YouTube. So next Tuesday, coach's corner, super excited for that episode, which is going to be a lot of fun. So next week will be great. Thank you all again for joining this week of Full Out Chats. Stay healthy, stay safe. Have a great weekend, everybody.